Oh dear, oh dear. I got a platinum album for that. Got a gold album for that. So no laughing in the back there. Hi, I'm Pierce Brosnan, and I'd like to share with you some of the scenes from my work over the years. So sit back, make a cup of tea, get a cocktail, whatever you like, grab your loved one, and let's go. The car sequence, it was a vintage Aston Martin outside the casino there in Monte Carlo. And it was the last scene of the night, and I drove up, and they said, "Do you want to drive it back?" I said, "No, I'll drive it back." So we did this about 5 or 6 times, and then I could smell this burning rubber. I'd left the handbrake on. The guy who owned the car was in the crowd, admiring his beautiful vehicle, which I promptly walked away from, and that was the night.
Thank you, Mr.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Well, Connery and Moore I let in. You know, the first movie I saw back in 1964 when I left Ireland as a young lad of 11 years of age was Goldfinger. Putney High Street. Little did I think I was ever going to be James Bond. So I allowed myself, when I was working on GoldenEye, to take from Connery, to take from Moore, and somewhere in the middle try and find my own space and my own sense of reality and belief and sincerity that I could play the part. It's such a challenge because you really deal with yourself when you play this part. Casino Royale is really the blueprint for the character. Fleming didn't really give you much insight into who Bond was. So, you read the books, you read the script, you focus on the script, and you try to be the man. It's kind of as simple as that and as complicated as that, without going into too much embroidery of the psychological makings of the fellow.
It appears we share the same passions. 3, anyway.
I can't too.
I think you're dealing with someone who's constantly dealing with fear and that sense of death and dying, and someone who also, loves life and loves being that man. It's very hard to talk about, Bond. It's best left unsaid.
That's a pretty impressive bauble you got her.
Oh, thank you.
Fellow gives a gift like that, he wants more than a piece of her heart, eh? Bit of a going down payment, huh?
Excuse me?
No, dear. Sink the sub. Hide the weasel, park the porpoise. A bit of the old Humpty Dumpty.
Oh my God! I mean, there's reams of footage of me just kind of falling around on the floor with laughter. And he went really blue. I mean, he really was quite colorful because the children weren't there and it was just Robin and myself, and he knew he had me in the crosshairs with his humor. I love the man. And I really never worked with Robin Williams. I only worked with Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, the very first day that I was on set up in San Francisco, they said, "Do you want to meet Robin?" I said, "Yeah, I'd love to meet him." And I went into the makeup trailer, and Robin was sitting there in a Hawaiian shirt and his kind of hairy arms hanging out and his hairy legs. But he had the head of Mrs. Doubtfire. So he said, "Oh, Pierce, oh, you're so handsome. Come here, give us a kiss." "Hey there, baby, what's happening?" He jumped all over the place. He was such a kind-hearted man as well. He was such a beautiful soul. And no one made me laugh quite like Robin Williams did.
Just one moment. Carpe dentum. Seize the teeth.
Let me assist you.
Oh, there. A spoon. Oh, how clever.
Spoon.
How clever. Wait,
Here we go, dear.
Wait. I've got there. Make a pincer. Come at it from both sides. Together.
There you go,
up,
darling.
up,
That's
up,
it. There we go. Very
The
good.
job came at a very, very good time in my career. I was a single father, children to take care of, and a home, mortgage to pay, and the job was just pure heaven, pure joy.
Help is on the way! On the way! Hold on, yes.
It's totally suggestive. I mean, he's like just, yeah, it speaks volumes. No acting required, really, none whatsoever. Robin was a very, very muscular fellow, and you know, I'm 6'2", at least I was then. And so we spent a good week in that restaurant filming it, and a good chunk of change, him manhandling me, trying to cough up a shrimp. A fabulous sequence.
Oh, the gentleman wishes to buy you a drink.
Remington Steele. Dropped into LA back in 1982. I got a job. I went for my first interview, drove across Laurel Canyon in a lime green Pacer. The car blew up, and I walked down the hill to my first audition, and it was an interview, and it was called Remington Steele. I got the job. I had a mountain of black hair there back in the day. I was as skinny as a whippet, and I thought I was Cary Grant. Bob Butler, who directed the show, he said, we're making an old movie, and I loved Cary Grant movies, so I immersed myself in the world of Cary Grant, and I was coming from England, and I'd been in a lot of theatre, done a lot of stage work, so my alacrity of speech was much sharper than it is now. Stephanie Zimbalist, beautiful Stephanie Zimbalist. I used to watch her father in 77 Sunset Strip, and now here I was working with this beautiful young woman. And yeah, it's a deeply meaningful series for me because it launched my career, and it launched my career in America. It brought me to the public's attention.
Do you always do things on such a grand scale, Mr. Pearson?
Only when I'm aroused.
Well, I don't really like looking at myself or hearing myself speak. Don't play it again. Just let's play a bit more.
I always loved excitement. So I studied and apprenticed and eventually joined a large detective agency.
And did it fulfill your fantasies?
Look how good she is, Stephanie. She has such a clarity of speech. I tried to be Remington Steele. I mean, the lovely thing about Remington was you didn't know where he came from. He was an enigma. So that gave me a lot of leeway to play and have a great time with Stephanie. I loved her. Remington loved Laura, and Laura loved Remington. And were they ever going to come together, that was the tease. And he wanted to just get her in the sack at the end of every episode, and it never really happened. But it had an innocence to it. It was a theme of the thin man, heart to heart. We liked each other. We had a kind of our own power struggle within doing the show. Stephanie was very well established. I was the unknown actor, so to speak.
Tell me, Miss Holt, how did you become a dick?
I beg your pardon?
Isn't that what you Americans call a private detective?
In creating Remington Steele and that style of performance, suit acting, suits always look good on me. I love clothes, I love fashion, I love beautiful aspects of life. So from Remington, I kind of launched myself into that style of performance, leading man, wanting to do movies. But I was so stamped by the character, it took me a while to break away from it. And I don't think I ever really did break away from it. But it allowed me, it was the stepping stone to Bond.
Oh, I see I got the air back on. I shouldn't have checked my coat. Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I had my pick in this room, I wouldn't have taken the Monet.
It's very hard to describe how you create chemistry. You like someone, you really enjoy them, you admire them, you adore them, you respect them, and then you have a great sense of play. And Renee is as light as a feather in her beauty and her sense of humor. And again, she was easy to fall in love with as the character. When Beaumarie St. Clair, my producing partner, and I hit on the idea and the studio said yes to it, it was an exhilarating moment. And then you have to come to play the part. For me, it was a love story about a man who had everything in his life, everything was at his fingertips, but he didn't have love. There was a hole in his heart. And then out of left field, comes this gorgeous woman who is on his case. So for me, it was the love story. But then, of course, John McTiernan, I'd worked with John, made his first movie, Nomads. He was out of the AFI, and it's a psychological thriller, Leslie Ann Down and myself. That was Nomads. And I thought that was during my days as Remington Steele, and I thought this is the start of my film career, but it wasn't meant to be. John McTiernan, took off and became John after that, with the Die Hard movies and Predator. And then, of course, the years go by, and I come to him with the gift of the Thomas Crown affair.
You? You like to have that?
Why? Would you get it from me?
Anything's obtainable.
I love art. I'm a painter, so I wanted to hit the Met, and I really fought for the story to be in New York. They tried for LA, but I didn't want to do that. I just loved the city, New York, and it just added to the grandeur of the piece.
Okay, I'll bite. What would you do to get it?
I'd buy a print.
Well, Steve was so cool. He was he did so little on camera and he did so much. So it was the inner life of him, and he had such an ease of physicality with his own body and sensuality. And how do you play cool? You just can't. It's an impossible thing to do. You have to be sincere. You have to be comfortable in your own skin. Keep it as simple as possible.
I see you kept my bagpipes.
They're supposed to ward off unwanted visitors.
Oh, you don't need bagpipes to do that.
Mamma Mia came to me one winter's evening. My stepfather had just passed away, and I was over at my mum's house, and it was just her and I and the undertaker. My stepfather's name was Carmichael. Bill Carmichael, William Carmichael. Lovely man, a really kind man to me. So he was a Scotsman too. And I said to my mum, oh, we have to have the bagpipes. We should get a piper to take him and send him off on his way. And we were sitting there, and there was just the three of us. I said, I'm going to go outside for a cigarette. I was out there, and my agent called me and said, you've got a job with Meryl Streep. And I thought, oh my heavens, this is magnificent. This is incredible. Meryl Streep, they're really taking me seriously. And he said, yeah, it's Mamma Mia. I said, what? Mamma Mia, the musical? He said, yeah. I said, great. Where is it? How much? And it was Greece. My agent said, look, you have to stay in London and see the show. So 2 days later, I went to see the show, Mamma Mia, and I sat there with my late stepdaughter, Charlotte, and my son, Christopher, and watching the play, and I thought, oh my God, what have I said yes to? Well, it's this crazy musical, Mamma Mia. And I kept on thinking, Meryl is in it, Meryl Streep is in it, it's okay, hold steady. And then Charlotte said to me, Daddy, who are you playing? Which dad are you playing? I said, I don't know, I forgot to ask. The gay dad, I could play the gay dad. I can do that. Or the butch dad, I can do that. And then in came Sam Carmichael, the handsome one. And I said, that looks like it's got my name on it. And I was Sam Carmichael. So here we are watching the play, and my stepdad had just buried Carmichael. And then in the play, the character Sam Carmichael says to Donna, oh, you've still got my bagpipes. And so someone was looking after me up there. And then when we made the movie, I got the prop department to put the Carmichael tartan on the bagpipes.
Where are those happy days? They seem so hard to find. I try to reach for you, but you have closed your mind.
This is a warhorse of a song. It really is. It's not an easy song to sing, and I was mildly terrified. I remember going up to Air Studios to record the songs, and the only thing that kind of gave me some solace and some peace was to see Colin Firth and Stellan Skarsgård look as equally freaked out as I was as we kind of sat down with Benny and Bjorn and went straight into recording the songs. So you record the songs and then you sing back to the track. But you have to sing because you have to see the effort and the vocal chords, and you have to act the song out. But the musical director, he would stand right beside the camera to count me in, because I could never really count in. I was no good. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he'd be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I'd be watching him. So I think you can actually see me look to the side of the camera at some point.
When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When you're gone.
Oh dear. I got a platinum album for that. Got a gold album for that. So no laughing in the back there. I'm watching you.
About 2 months ago, I had this job in Manila. Now, normally, this would make me happy. I like the hot climate. Guys look like chicks. It's fucking fantastic. The thing was, I was burnt out. I didn't know it. I didn't even know what burnt out meant at the time. But I was. I was a classic textbook case.
You know, this character is so messed up, and it's such dark humor. Richard Shepard sent it to us, my late producing partner, Beau Marie St. Clair, as a writing sample. We were, at that time, trying to do the Thomas Crown Affair Part 2. But Richard Shepard sent us this wonderful character, Julian. The costume played a big part of it. Kat, who was the costume designer, got these kind of dreadful orange-colored, there was a dreadful orange-colored jacket, I remember. The chain became something that those guys wear. Richard Shepard wanted a moustache, so I grew a moustache, because he thought that was a kind of rather kinky, strange look. In doing so, I dismantled some of the image that I'd created with Remington Steele and James Bond as well. So you're always looking to try and be an unexpected surprise. Sometimes you play the same part over and over and over again until you're sick of yourself. And you have to then find the material to break away from that corner you've painted yourself into.
I was having panic attacks. I was completely losing control of myself. I tried to counter this with booze, of course, but nothing was working. I drank and nothing.
It was very easy to play. Once I surrendered to playing Julian, and then I had, Greg Kinnear. I mean, Greg Kinnear is such a great scene partner to be opposite, and he gave me the character. The more perverse and the more outlandish I got, the funnier it got up against his stoic, deer in the headlights character. But so much of my work is sensing and intuition. You have some image of the character, you have some sensation, a voice, piece of clothing maybe.
I moved on to my other usual diversions. Wonderful little whorehouse I knew right off of Mobini Street.
Oh dear, that always makes me laugh. Smacking on the derriere. What can I say? It was Mexico City. It was Greg Kinnear, and it was this wild, crazy character.
Where have you been?
Comforting Eddie.
Oh, Jesus.
He needs love and understanding. He's a true Harrigan. He'll make a great man one day, you'll see.
That little fucking Turag, he's a liability. That's what he is. He's a fucking liability.
Don't you try to stare me down, you poxy little cock.
Well, it was the accent. That's what gave me the character of Conrad Harrigan. And, you know, I'd spoken to Guy. The job came to me last summer, 5 episodes. I read them. I loved the work of Guy Ritchie. I said yes. I jumped in straight away. And it was, you know, North London, South London, family, Irish background. But I had in my head, you know, a South London accent or a North London, not really specific. And I started talking to Guy on the phone, and he said, listen, don't worry about it. Okay, we'll sort it out on the day. 15 minutes, put it out of your mind. I said, I just want to clarify, 15 minutes, put it out of my mind, we'll sort it out on the day. And he said, yeah, don't worry about it. Of course, I did worry about it, and I tried to think, what part of London would he come from? And then 5 weeks later, I'm on the set, first day of shooting, Tom Hardy, myself, and Guy. And Guy said, go more Irish, more Irish. Now, my Irish accent is a very soft Irish accent, and it's faded in the mist of time, really. So I called with about 15 minutes to go before the very first take, I called my dialect coach up, good friend, Brendan Gunn. I said, Brendan, I need a Kerry accent. Brosnan is a Kerry name. The old man, Tom Brosnan, God bless him, he was from Kerry. And that's how Conrad was born.
You have no idea who Eddie Harrigan is. You can't see it. None of you can. I can.
Helen has cut such a fine, crystal-specific line of attack with her performance, her speech, her articulation of speech. Her focus is so intense. And she gives you so much that she makes you real. And like everyone in this MobLand, it's a wonderful ensemble of actors. And we didn't discuss things. We didn't go into great depths of our motivation. You study the scene, you study the script, as you do, and that's where your work is. Study, study, study. Read the text. And slowly he comes to you, and you bring yourself to the character. And then you go to work the next day. You rehearse it, block it, shoot it. As they say in the movies, that's it, folks. That's all we got. All right, enjoy the night. Good night, good day. Ciao.